Hello, I'm Matt Peterson.
And I'm Rich Trappier.
And this is episode
55, I think.
55 of Mystery on the Table.
Double nickels.
For a moment there, I forgot whether we actually counted the end of the year episode.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And then also, I didn't even write our number down because hey, folks, it's the end of the year. It's our best of 2023 end of the year episode.
We made it. We have been recording for 2023 years.
That's checks out, I think. Happy New Year, Rich.
Happy New Year. Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Listeners.
Happy New Year. All that stuff.
Tonight is a night for celebration, and
reminiscing.
And reminiscing, yeah. Celebrating the year that is 2023 and talking about our favorite games, as for some reason we've settled into this number of 6 when we would do these lists. Not 5, not 10, but 6 is apparently our number.
And then we've got to do the one that got left off, so really it's 7.
Yeah, right, it is. Yeah, the things that just missed. So we'll talk about our 6 favorite games from the year of 2023. The caveat is that anything that was new to us is eligible. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but any board game or card game is good for the list. We have a bunch of subcategories. Of course, we'll hear from listeners, as we've always done. We've got some great ones this year. And then we'll wrap up with all the bullshit that people... the end of the episode stuff that sometimes you might shut off our podcast before we actually get to the end of the episode and you miss all the off the table stuff. I think Bruce one time was like, "You guys are talking about train games?" I was like, "Yeah, well," I mean, I wouldn't say every month, but most months we have some train game talk.
We'll just make sure to talk about Bruce at the end of the episode.
Yeah, there you go. So I already mentioned these are board games and card games that are new to us for the year 2023. That doesn't necessarily mean they were released in 2023 or anything like that.
Yeah, and in most cases they weren't. So, but that's
fine. I got a pretty heavy list this year. Did you set any other rules for yourself or do anything interesting when you were making your list this year?
Not really. Just something. I mean, it just had to be significant to me. Actually, on my very first one. I'll talk about it in a minute, but I did play this one before, but just barely, and it got cut off, and this is the year that I got to play the game significantly. So that type of thing. In 2020, I would consider myself learning and playing this game in 2023 rather than in any other year. I
had 2 little caveat things. Last 100 Yards, Russian Front would have made my list, but it's a completely standalone game, folks. It's just we've done Last 100 Yards, right? And I love Last 100 Yards, and Russian Front surprised me. It's very good. Mm-hmm. But it just kind of felt weird to do Last 100 Yards. And I don't want to spoil anything about your list, but I left On to Richmond 2 off because I played some of On to Richmond, or the base parts of On to Richmond, a few years ago.
Yeah.
Not saying it was necessarily disqualified. It allowed me to get some other things onto my list.
Yep. Well, I don't think I had the same problem. You played a lot more this year than I did. It was not a great year in general for gaming for me, just as far as how much I usually play compared to what I played this year. So I might have stretched mine a little bit more.
Fair. It happens. Okay. Anything else? Any other comments or anything about the year as a whole before we dive into this?
No, it was actually kind of interesting. We'll talk about solo a little bit later, but I played almost everything solitaire this year, but then when I was going through my list, there was nothing all year that I played that was actually designed for solitaire play. So I thought that was interesting. Usually there's at least one game I'll play that, is a solitaire game, and I don't think I had any of those at all this year.
Nice. I'm kind of looking around too right now, and I don't think I did either. Another interesting kind of outlier this year, I didn't read a lot of nonfiction this year. At the once we get through all our games and stuff, we'll talk about books and shit like that. I read a lot of fiction this year, not as many books as I normally read.
I think I was closer to the opposite. I did read some fiction, but mostly nonfiction.
I don't think I have any other comments to get out of the way. It was a great year for gaming, actually. I think the 2023 release schedule, I think 2023 as the trend has been so often over the last 10 years or so, will go down as a great year just in terms of the gaming catalog that 2023 offers. Like I said, I had a pretty good representation of my top 6 for 2023 this year. Yeah, I logged everything this year, and then I plugged it in the ranking system for things that I thought made the list, and came up with my top 6, although 1 through 3 were instant. Like, I didn't even need to put them in the ranker. I knew what they were. So, with all of that out of the way, Rich, why don't you kick us off? Number 6 new game new to you in 2023.
I will. And like I said, technically, this is one that I first played. I got together with 2 friends. It's a 4-player game, and we played this over at my friend's house in March of 2020. And then for some reason, we just played the one session and decided we weren't going to get together anymore. So this game, it's a 4-player game, Pericles, by GMT. It's a Mark Herman game. It's one that I've been wanting to play ever since then, and it's actually got bots and everything for it, so I started playing with the bots a little bit this year, and I actually played a full game of it today, so I'm really glad that I finally got the chance to get back into this game because there's a lot that I like about it, and that's my number 6 this year.
All right, a little bit of a stretch of the new to you, but we'll allow it. I bought this game because of how much you enjoyed it and talked about it after Historic Fest. Very interested in playing Pericles. I don't believe I put it on my 2-play next year, but at Historic Fest, I want to do a bunch of multiplayer stuff. I would like to play Pericles.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll play that with you. Mike is into it. I'm into it. Amy likes playing it, and we're going to play again in a couple weeks with Mitch. So
this has never been the case. Like, my year, I don't think has ever been a straight swing of war games, and so why change this year? Number 6 for me is a little game called Earth. Earth is a tableau builder, but if you pick an action, I follow that action depending on what my tableau looks like. It is very heads down, especially as you learn the game. It is a very beautiful looking game. I think it's a very snappy playing game, and you seem to always be involved because if Rich is taking an action, I'm looking at my board to see what his action triggers on his turn for me. And obviously when I'm taking my own turn, then I'm engaged. But you're constantly engaged with your own tableau. You're not necessarily constantly engaged in interacting with other players. It's very much multiplayer solitaire. But I like multiplayer solitaire. And if you like that kind of, hey, this person is going to do that action, but it's going to pay dividends for me, kind of a la Race with the Galaxy, this is very much that. I think a little bit more interaction comes out in the way of like card denial as you get to learn this game more. But Earth is a really and the whole theme of the game is you're building trees and mushrooms and different plants and building little engines. When a red action goes off, you're doing boom, 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 this, whatever. It's Earth. It's really good. Yeah. I kind of struggled to find my number 6 game, but as I kept going back through the list, I kept coming back to Earth. My top 5 were relatively easy, but I had a hard time settling on what number 6 would be. Anyways, it's Earth. It's good. I like it.
Yeah, I almost played that one. I was at Game Store last week, and I think if we had stayed a little longer, that's probably going to be the next game we would have played. But that one's on BGA, so I'll get to play it there.
Man, I wish last week would have worked out better because so like my brother-in-law was in town, which is great. Love seeing them. But they're only here like once a year, so that like booked up the whole week. I could not fit a trip in.
So for the listeners, I was in Kansas City last week, but Matt and I
you went to my local game store, the local game store we hold Kansas City Historical Gaming Day at.
Yeah, we ended up not staying as long as we thought we were going to because our Airbnb had no water and the heat was out, and we went to a hotel and went home a day or two early. But we had a good time.
Speaking of a good time, Rich, let's hear from Mr. Reliable himself. Always count on him for a good time, meaning a game or 2 or 3 or 13 simultaneous games with the world's best office administrator. Let's hear from Patrick.
Hey, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's, everybody. Hope that everybody is enjoying the holiday. Patrick / Sins Captain / most importantly, Secretary of the podcast. Hope everybody had a great 2023. Number one for me this year, probably Plantagenets. Great game. Really enjoyed Sea Salt and Paper on the Euro/card game/family game front. And we all know that the best game ever made is, well, it's U.S. Civil War. So that one's for you, Matt. Guys, take care. Number one podcast in Finland. Looking forward to next year. Happy New Year.
All right. So I have no idea what any of these clips are because I haven't had a chance to hear them yet. So I'm just going to pretend that I did and say, thanks, Patrick. I do think your baby's super cute.
There you go. Perfect. I mean, you never do hear them, which I think is like I could send them to you ahead of time. But where's the fun in that? I want to see you squirm. All right, Rich. So a little subcategory here tonight. You know what? It's the holidays. It's the New Year. Rich, what are you drinking, buddy?
Well, I'm not going to tell you what it is because when we talk about my cocktail of the year, this is what I'm making for myself. But I'll just tell you it's a bourbon-based cocktail for now.
Okay, I pre-gamed with my drink of the year.
Nice.
And I won't tell you either. But right now I'm drinking a Dark Crater, which is a Doppelbock from Boulevard, but it's a barrel-aged Doppelbock. It is
I like
smooth.
That. Barrel-aged. I like it. That's the name of my quartet.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. The name of, well... I was going to go with the joke there. I'm not going to. Instead, Rich, why don't you tell us what your biggest surprise of the year was?
It's already a fat and an old joke, so it's fine.
Well, I was going to make one about myself. I was like, I call myself like Barrel Belly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it wasn't there, but I was trying. All right, Rich, surprise us with your surprise of 2023.
My biggest surprise of the year would be Battles of the American Revolution, specifically the tri-pack that we reviewed a couple months ago.
Sure.
I don't know why. I just didn't really get into this series. I had one game and I never played it. And when we picked this one up, I was just expecting something different. I don't know what it was, but this game really hit the sweet spot as far as like the heaviness of it, the playability of it, the fun level. I just really enjoyed this game completely to my surprise.
Brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I've told the story about how I acquired this game for like 20 something bucks on the Cool Stuffing closing out sale. My surprise of the year is Seas of Thunder.
That's awesome.
Doesn't make my top 6 just because I haven't really fully played the game yet, right? Like I haven't played it opposed. I've really still just kind of gone through the mini game a few times, but compared to what the reviews look like on BGG and some of the complaints, I was like, I'll take a flyer on this game for $20. But there's a lot of stuff I like here. The same things we talked about. The mini game is fun. The variable victory points for different areas for the Axis versus Allied powers, super interesting. It's fun. It's light. It deserved a mention for 2023, but it's not something I've played enough to get it on the list. But Seas of Thunder, a game that completely wasn't on my radar at all, is a game that came out from GMT in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a game that might be best on Vassal, just for the ease of moving. You have to kind of move counters to that little mini game display.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not too different than Fleet, right? Like you have to move counters in Fleet, like your error and where they come from.
Because you're moving them off the baseboard onto the map and back every single round.
Right, exactly. So it's not too different from that. But anyways, yeah, Seas of Thunder.
Cool.
All right. Number 5. I had to double check that this was new to me in 2023. I've talked about this game a lot. I honestly can't remember if it made my top 20. I think it did, because I think I mentioned that this is my favorite coin game. All Bridges Burning.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. If I had to pick one, it's All Bridges Burning 2-player variant opposed. But All Bridges Burning is... I'll just repeat myself from last month, right? I find most of the factions, which is 2 out of 3 in this game, super interesting. Even the moderates are somewhat interesting. I just strongly prefer the other 2. But in a series where I find a lot of actions very uninteresting, I find almost every action I take in All Bridges Burning to be engaging and interesting. And it's Finland, and I love the topic. I think where coin excels is obscure topics. I think it's really cool that it hits on things we wouldn't otherwise hit on. And All Bridges Burning is fantastic. And I think it gets looked over sometimes.
Yeah.
And it rocks.
I feel like one of my themes this year was kind of getting over COVID, because I talked about the last game I played before COVID. Later, I'm going to talk about a game I only played a little bit during COVID. All Bridges Burning was the first game I ever played face-to-face after COVID. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. closing that chapter out.
I think your number 5 you played at Historic Fest with
yeah. So this is another one. I felt a little weird about putting it on the list, just because I didn't get to play it that much. We played an introductory scenario, but I really liked it, and I can see the good game in there enough that it makes me really want to play more. So this game is Littoral Commander,
nice,
which
Sebastian
just
Day.
came out end of last year, I think. I can't remember exactly when it came out, but yeah.
That was 2023 release. That was 2023.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's a modern war game. This one takes place at the like the southern tip of was it India, or I can't remember where it took place, but I mean but it's sort of a, I don't want to say it's a card-based game, but it has cards in it. You've got military units. Where it really shines is as a multiplayer game. The players on the same side, so it's, red versus blue. You're basically, playing the U.S. or NATO or whatever versus China or Russia or whoever. But the guys on the same side really have to coordinate. And, Sebastian makes games for the military, so you can see, the intent is to get the different branches and the different formations and everything to coordinate and work together, and that's where the game shines. So it was a lot of fun. I haven't bought it yet. I think I probably will at some point once I have more time to play, and I want to go deeper into that game because it's really fun.
Very good. Gosh, we're only 4 games in, and it's outstanding. We also have very little crossover this year. Now, I did not plug my list in, but I'm just looking like,
yeah.
I think we're only going to cross over once.
Okay.
And I won't spoil where it's at.
I think I could probably guess.
Well, if you can guess that, you can probably guess who's up next. Let's hear from our annual guest and good friend and 3-time Last Man Standing Award recipient. He had to share it this year. Let's hear from Wild Bill Simone.
Hi, guys. Thanks for another great year of podcasts. My best of for 2023 is Plantagenet from the Levy and Campaign series. A close second, and my pick for most innovative, is going to be Land and Freedom, the Spanish Revolution and Civil War. But my special best of award goes to Rally the Troops for what it's done for giving us a great interface to play asynchronous games. I've played over 30 games of Time of Crisis. I've got games of Votes for Women and Andean Abyss ongoing almost constantly. It's just been a great boon to the hobby, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else Tor and the rest of the team there bring to the table. Thanks, and have a great 2024.
Thank you, Bill.
Hey, Bill. Good to hear from you. Sorry about Ohio State, but I'm not really that sorry. We needed that game more than Ohio State game needed it, so.
Probably true. That's a fair statement. As a lifelong Mizzou hater, you could go to any college in my family except for Mizzou.
Yeah, that's my rule too, except for Kansas.
What a game. Where are we at? We are at Disappointment, and I am up first. So we had some crossover here, so let me tell you about my other disappointment. Rich, I'm sure you've heard of this game. Okay, this is a 1963 classic. At one point...
When I think of 1963 classic, I assume you're talking about a car.
Nice. It's an investment and market game, at one point published by Avalon Hill Games. You've heard of Acquire, right?
Oh, yeah. We played that all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah, I set the bar so high for Acquire.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad game by any means. My personal expectations for Acquire were so high, and I played Acquire quite a bit this year for the first time, and it eluded me completely.
Yeah, I've seen it around, like in the new boxes and everything, and I sort of noted, I'm like, oh, hey, that's a game I played when I was a kid. But, it was 40 years ago, so I have no idea how well I would enjoy it now.
I think a new edition just came out or is coming out from Renegade Games.
Okay.
It did not click for me. I get it. It's obviously a great game design. I can see why people like it. But my personal expectations for Acquire were so high that this kind of disappointed me.
Okay.
And by kind of, I mean it completely disappointed me. But not as much as the game that disappointed you.
Yeah, so for me, it was Founding Fathers, which, I had just the absolute highest hopes for. After playing
Yeah.
Republic of Rome, I'm going to KC Fest, which I know I'm going to have a great time there. And the key game of the weekend for me was, wait, so there's a game like Republic of Rome, except it's set in the U.S. at the beginning of the USA. That sounds like I'm ready to buy this game before I play it, just because it sounds so amazing, and it just didn't hold up. It's not Republic of Rome, and I feel like it fell flat in several places, and I just thought, wow. So I'm glad I played this. I'm glad I know now, and I'm not going to ever want to play this again, because why would I want to if I had the chance to play Republic of Rome?
So I'm not quite as harsh on Founding Fathers as you are, but it was my biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
I think with a group that is fully committed, I had an interesting conversation with our buddy Rexus,
Okay.
and he read somewhere or heard somewhere, and this is very interesting. The difference between Republic of Rome and John Company is that John Company doesn't trust the players. Meaning, which is not a bad thing. Meaning John Company puts in guidelines, and restrictions and structure to how you do things.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, holy shit, that makes so much sense.
Sure.
And then the reason why Republic of Rome works so well is because Rex is so passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's played it. And so it's so group dependent, and our group completely bought in.
Oh, sure.
I'll remind you of a couple hours in Republic of Rome when you were down to like one senatorial family. You were not necessarily bought in. But then the group boosted you back up, right? And the group was heavily engaged in negotiation. We as a group, I think, to a certain extent, let Founding Fathers down by not getting the same level of negotiation, of engagement that Founding Fathers asks of us. I won't say it deserves.
It could be.
But the difference is,
yeah.
Hold on real quick, and then go, because I'm just about done. The difference is you don't have to do that with John Company, which makes John Company the better. Hey, I'm going to a convention. I'm sitting down with 6 strangers. Not that I sat down with 6 strangers.
Mm-hmm.
We played with a group of people who all kind of knew each other. But John Company is almost better in that sense because then you can just sit down and play it, and it has the structure in place. Founding Fathers isn't as good a game as Republic of Rome, but it still has the same ask of Republic of Rome, where the players have to do a lot of heavy lifting still.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you're coming from. I think there are things that are specifically in Founding Fathers, like the party system, even the way the elections run, that make it more difficult for that game to really flow.
I agree with you, especially in the party system, because I think it's a detraction, and it's also weird to be like you're bipolar in that game. You have some representatives that obviously are one party and some the other. So that I don't think that works. But also I don't know how much the players, me included, did what Founding Fathers needs the players to do to milk it for everything it's worth. And it's not worth Republic of Rome and John Company. I'm not trying to like defend the game. I think it is flawed, but I enjoyed my play 100%. To be clear. Anyways, that's my Founding Fathers take.
All right.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, number 4.
Number 4.
All right, I'll go first. For me, this was the latest BCS game, Valley of Tears. This one's definitely new to me because it came out this year. I mean, everything that I love about BCS, this one just takes it to the next level. It's almost like 2 games in one that can be played together, because the 2 fronts don't really have any communication. There are rules in the game to play them together, so you can move Israeli units from one to the other, but really it's 2 fronts, it's 2 games in one. But the big thing that this game does is it adds on to the air system, which is needed because, air warfare in 1973 is very different from air warfare in 1945. So the additions to the air system really, it, it makes it feel different as a different time period. It makes it more fun to play. It makes more interesting choices for air warfare. It's just a fantastic game. I'm loving it.
I expected this to be higher on your list.
Yeah,
which is,
there's some good games out there.
That's true, and it wasn't necessarily higher in your top 20. My number 4 this year. All right, call me crazy.
You're crazy.
I am crazy for this, but let me tell you what I did yesterday.
You can't pick Dick again, Matt.
What?
You can't pick Dick again.
No, I did not play Dutch Inner City. I wish I played Dutch Inner City yesterday. For about 8 hours, I played Downfall yesterday. This is my only play of Downfall.
Nice. You playing
Solitaire?
Solitaire?
Solo it beforehand? Nope. I've still got it set up. I'm saying like, oh, I want to keep playing this, and I do want to keep playing this. But now I can't imagine I can't imagine playing this solo because of Pose. It's so damn good.
Yeah, I'm playing that one in 3 weeks at St. Louis Game Day.
This is my hot take, right? Like, I've played once for 8 hours. It's my number 4 game. Mm-hmm. What's so interesting about this game is just how interconnected everything and the nuances behind, oh, if I do this, and kind of the ripple effects this has just in timing, because I'm going to pay 18 initiative points to be able to do this, but then what is that? That's going to trigger an event, and then I'm going to lose my air superiority, or I'm going to lose my die roll advantage. Like, everything has this domino or ripple effect, butterfly effect. What's up, Josh Hartnett? No, that's not Josh Hartnett. That's
Butterfly Effect was the guy from
that 70s
show. Yeah.
Yeah. You all know who we're talking about. Ryan Reynolds. I'm kidding.
No,
that's not right. I know.
The guy that's married to Demi Moore, isn't it?
No, he's married to Mia Kunis.
All right, whatever.
Didn't they get married? Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
Who is?
Wasn't he married to Demi Moore?
Maybe, but I think now he's married to.
Oh, I don't know.
Mila Kunis. He was married to Demi Moore. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyways, Ashton Kutcher, big, huge hottiac, big hot fanatic.
Yeah, he just doesn't go by that name on the Discord.
No,
but y'all
right.
talk to him every day.
Right. It's Cashton Natcher is his Discord handle. Anyways, so here's the other thing. It also does stuff where when Italy surrenders. Okay, so you have this like Siege of Malta track, right, Rich? Whereas like which is kind of tracking, let's just say, dominance of the Mediterranean for simplicity, right? It kind of is the strategic warfare for the Mediterranean. When Italy surrenders, it just, all right, that part's done. We don't really care about that, which is so nice that when you get to the point where Italy surrenders, or where you get to the point where the Western powers have liberated France, you don't really care about supply in the Atlantic anymore, right? Like, yeah, sure, maybe you have some submarines that are still active, but you're not really worried about the wolf packs anymore at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the game does the great job to just like, all right, that part's done. And so there's all these little design choices that are kind of brilliant that not every game does. Like, oh, we're 18 hours into this game and we're still doing this little supply check in the Atlantic, but I'm about to capture Berlin. Like, it doesn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't, because historically it didn't. By that point, that's kind of resolved.
Yeah, the Battle of the Atlantic was won.
Exactly. This is a really good game. It's strategic level, right? So Downfall is a strategic level game. You're bipolar. You're playing OKW and the Russians play together. So you're playing European Germans with the Russians are one player, and then the East Front Germans and the Western powers are another player. Strategic scale, and it's strategic scale with really satisfying combat. It's a strategic scale game with a lot of modifiers in the DRM. DRM modifiers, actually not so many, but strength modifiers, there's a lot of them. And combat resolution in strategic games isn't always my favorite. I really like this, and I also really like that, we kind of talk about like Stalingrad 42 or a lot of these other games where one side takes it in the teeth and the other side kind of storms back, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's great in Downfall is you're doing both things at the same time. So it might feel bad that the Western powers are kicking my ass in Africa, but it's fine because I'm steamrolling over in Russia.
Yeah.
So it's like it's this bipolar where you have to wear these two hats. And one hat kind of feels bad because you're losing, but the other hat's probably going to feel good because it very much is this is the German high water mark, and things start going bad for them. Really great design. I want to continue to play this, and the Vassal module's out, which is great. The hype and the buzz, especially on our Discord server, is well deserved. I've only played it once, but it was for 8 hours, and I loved it. And that's my number 4 game.
Nice. I'm looking forward to playing it. Decided.
As you should.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out whether I wanted to put Plantagenet or this one on the table. Ended up doing Plantagenet first, but Downfall, like I said, I'm going to play it at our next game day. So I'll have more to talk about it next time we record.
Yeah, I think you will. I think you will like it. I really think you will. Rich, Publisher of the Year is our next category.
Yeah. You want me to go first on this one?
Yes, sir, I do.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought about this quite a bit, and I tried to see if there was like an underdog that was deserving of this or something,
Yeah,
but
so did
ultimately, I just came up with MMP. I mean, and it's for a lot of reasons. So, I mean, you're going to see a lot of MMP games that we're going to be talking about in my list still. Already have, but I mean, there's BCS and OCS. They're so good at communicating the states of the system. So they're always keeping you excited. They've got so much in production that, I mean, you can't keep up with all of it. It's like a fire hose if you want to play all of OCS or BCS. They're reprinting ASL stuff, which, people have been saying for years, this ASL stuff is so hard to get a hold of. Why don't you just reprint it? And they're reprinting stuff. You can get a hold of stuff now. It's just, they just got a lot of good stuff coming out, and it just seems like they're doing things the right way. So MMP was the one that just bubbled to the top for me.
It's funny, is MMP was about the strongest contestant to dethroning my pick.
Yeah.
I went through a lot. There are because I didn't want to make this pick, right? I didn't want to fall in the trap of picking GMT.
Yeah.
And for me, there just isn't a bet for, this is like individual publisher of the year. This is subjective to Matt and my family and what they feel about GMT and the Wargame publisher. Asked my 4-year-old daughter. I said, "Hey, who's your publisher of the year?"
She got her vote in.
No, I wanted to find another thing, but here's the deal: like, it's GMT, right? You get more levying campaign coming out. You have
and that's another
Downfall.
one where, kind of like I said with BCS, they're so good at talking about what's coming,
Yeah,
and keeping you
absolutely.
excited about it. So
More last 100 yards. Rush in front is brilliant. Seas of Thunder. Great game. I hope. I think I should say. I have high expectations for now that I've played some. Downfall. Completely ignored it when it was on P500. Amazing. It's great. Yeah, it just continues to be. Maybe People Power missed the boat a little bit. I was interested in the theme, but I don't know. I think overall it's still a really impressive outing for them in 2023, and it's hard to. MMP comes about the closest. I was looking at VUCA, I was looking at Hollenspiel, I was looking all around Revolution, and it's hard. And they're in different boats, right?
Yeah.
And that's, it's not really fair, but just the bangers that hit for me, especially, is why I'm giving the nod to GMT. It's not just that there's 30 games that came out this year, or whatever it is. That's not why I'm voting for them. It's personally. A lot of my bangers this year were GMT bangers.
yeah, I was looking at Decision too. There's a lot of hype right now for the Axis
Yeah.
Empires deluxe pack, the one that just came out. So
Yeah, I've been reading the rules to that.
yeah.
Yeah, looks really good. All right, speaking of bangers, let's hear from the Doc.
Dr. Don.
Hi, this is Don Levick from Allentown, Pennsylvania. The highlight of my gaming year was Historic KC Fest in August in Kansas City. Played some new games, including Fire in the Lake and All Bridges Burning. Thanks, Matt, for that one. Had some great barbecue, and as always, had a great time. Over the year, I had 4 games of Next War going on, 3 on Vassal, 1 on Tabletop Simulator. Most of those will continue into next year. I played a solo campaign of all the American Civil War Blind Sword games. That was pretty cool. I helped with the final development and playtest notes for Prelude to Revolution, and that came out during this year. And I'm looking forward to 2024 and a lot more games. So everyone have a safe and wondrous holiday, and have a great 2024.
Hey, Don, that was really nice, and I'm so sorry for not continuing our next war game with you. That's just totally on me. Hopefully we'll do better in 2024.
Well, I do appreciate that Don makes the trek to Historic Fest. It's an absolute treat. Don flew in, I think the day of, and we grabbed barbecue, just the two of us, and yeah, Don's a great guy. So all of you are great guys. My heart is
win a train game and
so
leave, that kind of thing.
My heart is so full this year. No, he's stayed for the whole weekend. He's no Paul, but just the community as a whole has been so great, and so many new people, and so many just connections on Discord, and people coming to Historic Fest. All of that stuff has been so wonderful. So Don is the trigger for me gushing my heart here, but it's all of you together that is really awesome. Speaking of awesome, let's talk about awesome games. Number 3.
All right, bronze medalist.
It's Plantagenet. It's so good.
Oh, I got it on my table. I've played it a little bit. I mean, I see it. I like it. Not nearly enough for me to put it up that high yet, but there's nothing wrong with it. I just haven't played it enough.
Let me just really quick recap last month. It's levying campaign, slapped on an area majority of game, and you throw out sieges. It's brilliant. I love it. It's good. Best levying campaign game to date. It's innovative. It changes things up. The rule book is written so well and like labels everything that's a change if you're already familiar with levying campaign. If this is your first, you can just ignore the things that are marked as change. Like, well, no, you still have to read the things, but you can ignore the change symbols. Yeah, Plantagenet rocks. And it'd probably be number 1 if I didn't play shit that was made from like 4,000 years ago. We're about to get to that. But yeah, Plantagenet is awesome.
Nice. For me, this is another one I'm cheating on a little bit. I played it just a little bit during COVID online, but not anywhere to the extent that I played it this year.
And not in this form.
Right, yeah.
Right.
On to Richmond 2, which obviously just recently published. It's got the, I mean, if you have seen the On to Richmond maps and you've seen the On to Richmond 2 maps, I mean, just that in itself is enough to make you want to move up because they're just gorgeous. But, you're gorgeous. Especially, I'm actually going to talk about this more in a minute, but especially that Peninsular campaign is just so good. I mean, it's just fantastic. And I was lucky enough at the time to read a book that was just like reading the camp. I mean, you could literally follow the book on the map, and it was so good. And the game is so good, and there's so much in there. And I can't get enough of GCACW. I wish I could play it more, but this one's definitely deserving number 3 this year for me.
You're talking McClellan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I spared this because it's just like, hey, guess what? Matt and Rich talk about GCACW some more. Yeah, On to Richmond rocks. I don't know if it gets 1 or 2 for me this year, but it probably.
Yeah.
If On to Richmond existed without the rest of the series, and it was like, oh, look at this new thing, it beats out everything else, right? I mean, it's that damn good.
Just GCACW in general. I went over to Mike's house today to play Pericles, and he's got Stonewall Jackson's Way set up on his table, and I'm just drawn to it.
Yeah. Good maps, good games.
Yep.
Speaking of good games, it's time to go down memory lane. Flashback to 2023, which is there's 363 days of gaming we could have considered because we're recording on the 30th. Technically, we could have our best memory tomorrow. My best day in particular, and I'm saving some of VikingCon for later, is the last 100 yards day of Historic Fest.
Okay.
Historic Fest as a whole, my favorite memory of the year, especially because the amount of people who are like, hey, I'm listeners of the show that came to Historic Fest. That was awesome. I love hearing that. But the day we played last 100 yards, played with all kinds of different people. Played with Casey Knight. Played with Mike Denson. Played with Les. Played with a couple of Kansas City folks that were new to the
And
convention.
I've said it before, but I will always say this: if you ever have a chance to play Last 100 Yards with Mike Denson, take it. Take it. Yeah.
You do it. But then here's the icing. So group game of Last 100 Yards, amazing. Loved it. We had a great story just of how they actually unfolded. But here's where the icing on the cake came on. One, our buddy Rex was lit. And Casey Nate was like, let's play this game, QE, qualitative easement.
Oh, yeah.
And somehow Rex gets convinced. But Rex, the entire time, is just comparing it to Ponzi Scheme, which is a game we played last. They're not in any way related other than that they're just full of bullshit, both of them. But somehow Mike Denson agrees to play. So we have a pretty inebriated group with Mike Denson, who is a grognard's grognard, playing QE, qualitative easement, which is an auctioning game where you just make up money. You just pay whatever you want. You can pay $10 trillion. Doesn't matter. It was amazing. It was a great day. I just love playing with.
I walked past
such
you
a
guys. I
diverse
could
group.
tell a lot of fun was being had at that table.
It was icing on the cake. You have 12 hours of Last 100 Yards, boom, boom, boom with Mike Denson. You know, he's not pulling up easy. You're playing all day. And then you just ease it off with the most not anti, but the game I would least expect Mike Denson to play that was played all weekend is qualitative easement, QE. And it was just boozy fun. And it was great. And I appreciate everyone who played in that group. And it was fun. And just Historic Fest as a whole is my favorite memory of the year.
Yeah, so we've mentioned Republic of Roan a few times already, but for me, that was absolutely my favorite gaming memory of the year. And really specifically, so we had played the game for, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably 4 or 5 hours at the time, and you won the game.
No. We started in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think we got started about 10:30. At 5 o'clock, I won the game.
Okay, so
we're like 7 to 8 hours
and
in.
you won the game. So we've been
I won.
playing
As a reminder, Rex.
Yeah.
Rex. I won Rex.
So we've been playing this game for 7 hours, and all of us, without fail, decided that we were having too much fun to stop, and we said, well, let's just pretend Matt didn't win and keep going. And then we went like another 3, 4, 5 hours. I don't remember how long it was.
We played till like 10 o'clock. It was
Yeah.
like 5 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's when you know that you're having a memory type game, is when you're having that much fun that you've already played for 7 hours and you've decided that it's not time to stop yet. So that was my favorite memory.
Agreed. It was solid. Solid. Speaking of solid, we're up to our runner-up of the year. It's number 2.
Yeah, so for me, it's a new system. I had never played GTS before. And part of it is, the specific game, the specific memory. It's obviously, this is a huge game. It's not something you can just plop down and play. Although you could play a single beach and have fun with it. But the Greatest Day, Sword, Juno, and Gold Beaches. We played 7-player game. We started playing online last December, a year ago, and we finished it up at Donkey Con in April. So, just a fantastic game. I mean, everything about this game just feels right. We're already talking about, do we want to play a different GTS game at Donkey Con coming up in a few months here? But it just feels really good. It's my absolute favorite D-Day game.
And it feels so good. Number 2. Rich, do you want to guess my number 2 game?
Your number 2.
I'll give you a guess. Rich, it's 4,000 years old.
The game itself is 4,000 years old?
Yeah, well, at least. The earliest traces
is
of
it
it are
Go?
2000 BC. It is Go.
Really?
It is so fucking good. I apologize for my French.
Have you played, what's the,
so
Washington's War?
The Herman game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've heard that
What
that's...
the fuck does that have
I've
to
heard
do
that
with
that
Go?
game's like Go. I mean, you're like
No.
putting political pieces around and trying to surround your enemies. And I've never played Go, but I've heard that game is like Go.
Okay. So I played Othello like several times.
Okay,
And I thought
yeah.
Go was Othello. They're nowhere
Okay,
near
I've
the same
played
thing.
Othello. I've never played Go.
What's amazing is Go is mechanically the easiest game I could teach you. You can
Sure.
lay down a rock on your turn, right? That's your turn. You're done. And if you get surrounded, you're dead. The level of depth, the level of decision making. I asked for Go books for Christmas. I don't hate chess. I wish I liked chess. I'm so bad at chess. I can't visualize chess. I can't see it. I understand people study it. Go, I see it. I get it. I want to learn more. I want to know everything about Go. I want to read about Go. I want to watch Go anime. I watch Go anime. I want to do daily problems. I do daily Go problems of life and death problems. And the thought of doing that with chess to understand chess like makes me want to vomit. But Go is, I get it, right? Like, I thought anyone talking about Go before was just like, okay, come on. Like, come on, that's a 4,000-year-old game. What are you talking about? So if you don't know, Go is an abstract game where one player is black rocks, one player is white rocks, and you claim territories, and that's it. And what's weird is it's this abstract game, but it also still somehow tells this narrative. It is like the most we could sit down and play right now, and it will take you, unless you're like a savant, unless you just like get it right away. Like, it's going to take you dozens of plays to really understand, to like see the mechanics start to move, and I will be so bad at this game for so long. And it doesn't matter. It is amazing. It's beautiful. It's just a beautifully simple game. It is so good. I am obsessed with Go. Like, my personality right now is Go. And if anyone tells you that Go is a bad game, they can go. Go is so good.
If you had given me 1,000 guesses, I would have not guessed Go.
You know what? If you would have asked me in January, like, Matt, what's a dark horse for your pick? If you had asked me in October, it doesn't matter. But it all started because I started playing shogi, which is a great chess alternative where you capture pieces. And then Duck was like, well, have you ever played Go? And I was like, I have played Go. I don't like it. No, I played Othello. Othello, you're trying to make like 3 in a row. It's like Connect 4 or some bullshit, right?
Well, Othello, you play black and white, and if you surround their pieces, you get to flip them over.
There you go.
That's
okay, but now take Othello and make it a good game, and you've got Go. Okay? So then I played Go on BGA with Duck, and I was like, whoa, this is way better. And then I found this YouTube channel called Go Magic. And then all of a sudden, it's like, I want these books for Christmas. And my wife got me a Go T-shirt, and it's really awesome. It's so good, and I doubted it. I really did. I was like, that's just highfalutin, abstract bullshit with all like the chess snobs that are like, oh, chess is great. It's fine. I don't get chess, and that's why I'm jealous and I'm really lashing out at it. But like, Go is great. Go is good. Go is life.
All right, there you have it.
Go is my number 2.
This is now a Go podcast.
Go on the table. Go, my number 2 game.
All right.
Which says a lot because it's a 4,000-year-old game. Like, what's better than a 4,000-year-old game? But before we get there, what are our best solo gameplays of the year and best multiplayer? Rich, why don't you start with solo, and then I'll go solo.
So I kind of talked about this earlier. I didn't play any games at all this year that were strictly solitaire games.
Yeah.
So everything, is a game that is made for 2 or more players, but I played it solo. And the one that really jumped out at me as just being really fulfilling, even without another player across from me, was On to Richmond 2. And I mentioned it earlier, specifically that Peninsula campaign. I've kind of talked about this in generalities before, where for solitaire games, I like invasions, where the defender, isn't really equally stacked up, and maybe they're doing a delaying action or they're trying to hold certain points. There's, games like OCS Korea or Next War Korea, or, games like that. And the Peninsula campaign is kind of like that. It's an invasion. So I had a great time playing it solitaire. I would love to play it with someone else, but that campaign in particular just really, really plays well solo.
I agree. GCCW is a great solo game. My solo game of the year is a series that plays very well solo. Do you have any guess on this? I'm just really excited to put mine in here. You know what my solo play of the year is?
All Bridges Burning.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. I really particularly enjoyed like talking it out on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
and just playing the three different mindsets. Yeah, All Bridges Burning solo. It's good. It's good. It's good. Multiplayer. We're shared here. It's Republic of Realm.
Yeah. Coin games in general play well solo, and I know how much you like that one, so it doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh yeah, but Republic of Realm multiplayer.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about it more if we want to talk about it more, but I've already pretty much covered how much I enjoyed that game.
It's group dependent. I've said it a million
Yeah.
times. I'll say it 10 million times.
We're going to
It's
play it
group
again.
dependent.
But how high could that game go? 6? Higher? Do you know?
On every Wargame Ever list?
No. How many players can play that game?
Oh, I think 6.
6, okay.
Yeah, I think that's the full allotment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then, yeah, pretty sure it's 6.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look at it.
But, I mean, I love, big all-day multiplayer games.
I like big
Twilight
multiplayer
Imperium.
games, and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. When
Twilight
Republic of
Imperium,
Rome-
here I stand, but I would take Republic of Rome over any of them.
Whoa, Richard, you cheeky bastard. Look at you. Number 1.
Number one?
Number 1 game
I
of
guess
the
I get to
year.
talk about Republic of Rome again.
Hold on. I'm up first on this one,
Okay.
Richard. Do you have a guess?
Well, you haven't talked about Republic of Rome yet, have you?
It's Republic of
There
Rome.
we go. Yeah, and I figured that would be the one that we would converge on.
You want to know my dirty little secret? I
You-
didn't want to like Republic of Rome.
Why is that? Because of Rex?
Because Rex liked it so much. I was like, there's no way it's this good. Like, this has got to be some kind of hoity-toity something or other. No, it's not. It's just really good.
Yeah. But, I mean, Rex, he could write papers on 18XX that would make me actually want to read them. But hearing his thoughts in a game like Republic of Rome, that'll get stuck in my mind now as well. I'll start thinking about the game from that point of view.
Richard, do you know what time it is?
Is it time for the Wargame game?
No, it's time for a restroom break. I'll be right
Okay.
back. All right.
Feeling good, Matt?
Doing good. How you doing, Rich? How was your Henderson?
It was
You can't have
delicious.
secrets if you pre-fill the list.
Oh, yeah, there you go. It's good. It's delicious. I made a double and it's gone, so I guess I'll just have to suffer and thirst for the rest of
You
the
can
podcast.
live vicariously through me because I am not thirsty. Rich, it's time for the losers.
Losers.
The games.
The
that
number
just
7 game,
missed.
the worst position to be in on our list.
You want to go first?
Sure. It's a game. It was my biggest surprise of the year. And really, I mean, number 6 for me was Pericles. Number 7 was Battles of the American Revolution Tri-Pack. Just neck and neck. I don't know. It was really hard to decide which one should be 6 and which one should be 7. So call it 6.5. It barely missed.
Barely missed because I only played once. Also, great pick. I played this a long time ago. That's why I haven't talked about it this year. Obviously, I like the series. I like the game. I agree with Rich 100%. Other just misses. Battles of the American Revolution is not a miss because it's not eligible. Other misses for me. Up front, only because I got to play it once. Awesome. Like it. Love it. Would want to keep playing it. We should review it at some point. Liberty Roads.
Okay.
I only got to play it solo, but it's an amazing game.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh man, Downfall or Liberty Roads would be a really interesting conversation to be had.
I played it this year solo and we reviewed it. When I played it a few years ago, it was always solo as well. But yeah, that'd be a good one to play against someone.
A great game, by the way. Like, just because we played it solo doesn't, no knock against it. Could easily be in this top 6 list. Here's a dark horse one. Man, we've got to stop talking about Rex. But I sent Rex a message a few months ago, and I said, you know what's living in my head is High Treason Trial of Louis Riel.
Oh, okay. I remember at Lake Viking seeing that sitting on the table, but I have never played it.
I'll bring it this year.
Okay.
I'll bring it this year if you want to play. Here's the deal. It's like think like Watergate. Think like Watergate's kind of the best example, but these
Is there
kind
a
of
game Watergate, or are you just talking about?
Oh, you haven't played Watergate by
No.
Capstone?
No.
Okay, Watergate's like kind of this kind of an argument of what is consim and what's not consim. I'm not going down that path right now, but like, is consim this? Nope, I'm not going down the path. Watergate is a game covering the Watergate scandal, and it's a historically themed game that engages with the historical topic in a meaningful way, and it's a 2-player game, and it's kind of light, and you kind of duel back and forth, right? It's like a dueling historical game. That's what High Treason is.
Okay.
I don't know if it's good enough to be top 6. It's not better than anything I listed in the top 6, but damn, is it a game I think about more than I should. And so it's kind of this dueling historical game where you're taking actions back and forth to directly counter what your opponent just did. Not like Twilight Struggle, but kind of like in that same vein, in the sense that you limited menu of actions to influence different tracks for your particular historical outcome. It's a terrible way to describe this game, but it makes sense in my head. Just misses. It's almost that good. I really liked it as a dark horse pick.
Nice. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, I'll bring it. And see, here's the deal. Like where Watergate probably is done in 30, 45 minutes, I think High Treason maybe overstays the table by just a smidge.
Mm-hmm.
If you could get it down to be something a little shorter, then you hit the money. Rich, for board games and card games, and primarily war games, that wraps up our top 6. Any closing comments or any concerns or epiphanies from
No,
that?
I mean, I've been complaining about it all year. My only complaint is that I didn't get to play enough this year, so I'm trying to, straighten things out. And my daughter just moved back home, so that should help because she's a gamer. And hopefully 2024.
It's an opponent.
I know. That's what I want. Is I want face to face. So
I want face to face with you, Richard. That's all I want.
We need to get the Columbia game going again.
I agree.
Are you coming to Donkey Con?
No. It's
Okay.
really hard to do the Columbia game day with 2 small kids.
Yeah,
I'll live vicariously through all you who don't have kids or kids have grown up. And we have a Columbia wargamer.
Yeah, that's right. And there's other Kansas City and St. Louis guys. I mean, it was just 4 of us the first time, but there's plenty of other guys that would make that trip.
Oh, yeah.
Guys and ladies. My daughter would be more than happy to come.
Yeah, I played Pericles today.
Yep.
Damn straight. Yeah. Yeah, I took advantage of like a party we were hosting, and I roped Casey Nate into attending. And we got PAX Premier to the table in person with 2 people who had never played in addition to Casey Nate. It just went over like so well.
Nice.
And so again, just as like closing comments, like again, the fact that like I've met so many people, the fact that you and I are still getting together a month, even when our lives are crazy, even when we come in and it's like the only thing we've been able to table is the game we're talking about. We still get together.
Mm-hmm.
I still meet new people. I go to a game day and it's me and Andrew and that's it. Like that is so great.
Yeah, and KC Fest is going to be the 4th year.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, well, 3rd year of the big daddy, and 4th if you
include
start with
Next
War.
War. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have a big moment.
Yeah, the marble statue has turned back to clay for one day.
Well, we have not put it in the kiln yet. We don't put it in the kiln until we retire, Rich. So we're still working on it. If you're unfamiliar with our show, first off, you picked maybe not the best episode to start with, or maybe you did. But we have a list. We have a list of every war game ever made, ranked from best to worst. But here's the deal: Rich and I, we're merely the arbiters of this list. We tie our blindfolds to each other. we
Take
put
off
on
our shirts.
One apron for each of us. Anything else would be wasteful. And we merely stick our hands out and we just start pumping the wheel. And we shape the list but really we just guide it. It's already formed its own list. It's completely objective. And so here's the deal.
Do we
set
shape
our
the
list.
list, or does the list shape us? That's a question to ponder.
Lord, Rich. I was not ready for those emotions and that kind of thought. But here's the deal. Rich and I cannot change the list, except for we broke that rule once for an adjustment mid-year. And here's our time. First off, new editions. New editions are very rare. New editions are games that we play that we probably are never going to rank.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any this year. Do you?
No, we don't. So here's the thing. I really wanted to put GTS on this list because I don't think we're going to both play that game.
No. I want to play that more.
Do you? Okay, good.
Yeah. I like GTS.
That was my
I like
thought,
GTS a lot.
We can talk about it and maybe next year, but yeah. Because GTS deserves to be on our list somewhere, but we'll hold it off.
So no new additions, which in the past we've added things like Arcola. What was that one you added from Battle of Galicia? No. Battle for Galicia.
Oh, Galicia? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Anyways, things like that. But this year, I think we're going to have the most list movement we've ever had.
I think so, yeah. And it was coming. I mean, we've been talking about it this year.
Let's start with my first proposal.
Sure.
So first off, we opened it up to the audience. But here was the qualifier. It had to be a well thought out, not a slap against the U.S. Civil War. Okay, the U.S. Civil War, designed by Mark. I almost said the wrong Mark. Designed by Mark Simonich as our number one game. Patrick got the closest with well thought out arguments as to why we're wrong or why the list is wrong, but none were that convincing. So Patrick said Men of Iron is rated entirely too low on the Every War Game Ever list. I think it should be slotted in at 17. It is better than Levy and Campaign, minus maybe Plantagenet, but could be argued to be lower than Empire of the Sun, Heresy, etc. That was about the most well thought out argument we had.
That's a big jump.
It is. So we can talk about Men of Iron, but where I want to start, Rich, is a downgrade of the other Levy and Campaign games.
So right now we have two on the list, Almoravid and Nevsky, and they're at 17 and 18.
And as a reminder, where we basically settled was you'd put Nevsky higher, I'd put Almoravid lower. Pick one or the other. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a great time. Even though Almoravid had to have some balance fixes, but that's neither here nor there. I proposed moving those below, both of those combined, below, like they need to be downgraded to make room for Plantagenet. Because I think the gap between Plantagenet and Nevsky and Almoravid is significant.
So do you think that if we were just to slot in Plantagenet today, do you think it would go in at 17 right above Almoravid? Or do you think it would go higher up on the list above some of the other games? So I'll just read off 10 through Almoravid. But Stalingrad 42, Silver Bayonet, Empire of the Sun, Here I Stand, Dien Bien Phu, Second Fleet, Korea the Forgotten War, then Almoravid.
I don't know if Plantagenet punches above the Minfu or Second Fleet.
That's
Korea,
my initial thought. Yeah.
So here's where I thought below Atlantic Chase. It's enough to. So here's the deal. These have to move at least 2 spots.
What if we just take Atlantic Chase and move it up to 17? Because I could make an argument that Atlantic Chase is better than Next Door Vietnam, Thunder in the Ozarks, Holland 44.
Okay.
So maybe move Atlantic Chase
is Nevsky. Let's use Nevsky as the measuring stick, right? Okay. Because I think as a whole, the whole community is more familiar with Nevsky by virtue of Rally the Troops. Mm-hmm. Is Nevsky better than Thunder in the Ozarks, which is my favorite blind swords so far? And
fun factor, I'm going to give it to Thunder in the Ozarks.
Yeah.
As a quality game, if you want to think of it like a critic would or something, probably still I might put Nevsky higher.
Okay. So those are close. So, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe Atlantic Chase goes above Almoravid.
Yeah, and I can see that because I think Atlantic Chase is probably ranked too low. I didn't have this on my list, but looking at it down there with Any Cost Mets, Holland 44, I think Atlantic Chase is a better game.
I've been replaying Atlantic Chase.
Yeah, that's one.
And I agree.
Yeah, with my daughter home, that's high on the list of games that I want to show her.
Okay. I am in favor of that. Atlantic Chase moves. Someone's got to take notes. Patrick, take notes. So don't move Almoravid and Plantagenets, but somehow Atlantic Chase
moves above Almoravid.
Above Almo.
I like that. I mean, that's...
Sorry for the key clacks. Okay, I like that too.
All right, cool.
Before we get to yours, because I think yours is going to be a little problematic.
Good.
Okay.
Good discussion.
Patrick proposed moving Men of Iron up. Here's the deal. Men of Iron has to move with Battles of the American Revolution tri-pack. Those two games are married in terms of ranking.
Yeah, that was
until
more
Men of Iron comes
Insta ranking.
Yeah. And they're just so close into what they do. Until we talk more Men of Iron games, they're married. Those don't get above Front Towards Enemy, which I know you haven't played, but they which for you would then mean they don't get above last 100 yards.
And I would agree with that. They're not going to go that high.
Okay.
So, I mean, really what we're doing, I mean, it is a 2-spot, but if we move them above Liberty Roads, I still don't like that. I like Liberty Roads better. And then now we're talking about 1 spot.
Right. Then you're at 1 spot. So then I'm thinking, what about Sword of Rome? Is Sword of Rome better than all of those things? And Sword of Rome is very good. Sword of Rome does everything you would want it to do. 4-player multiplayer, 5-player multiplayer, relatively approachable, playable in a day, playable faster than Virgin Queen or Here I Stand. It checks all the boxes for a multiplayer game, card-driven multiplayer. I think Last 100 Yards is better. I think Front Toward Enemy is better. Then it asks the question, is Men of Iron? So if you were going to somehow move Men of Iron tri-pack up, I think it's by virtue of moving something down. And I don't see anything else. Sword of Rome and at Any Cost Mess are the two things I would maybe consider bumping below.
I mean, I can see Normandy 44 going down, but that's only 1 spot.
That's only 1 spot. So are you? It doesn't sound like you're too keen on moving Sword of Rome.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. If we dropped Sword of Rome a little bit, if we dropped it down to, like, I haven't played Front Towards Enemy.
No, my proposal would be Sword of Rome below Men of Iron and below Battles of the American Revolution tri-pack.
Yeah, I could live with that. I wouldn't argue.
I don't know if that's just a proposal. I don't know if I'm like, sold on that.
That's not one that's jumping out to me as needing it, but I wouldn't argue with that one either. So
let's table that for next year, because I don't know if we're sold, and maybe we should just play Sword of Rome again.
Our secretary's going to go on strike.
It's an office administrator. Okay, those are my proposals for now.
All right. Well, I got one that I think will shake things up. Nothing against this game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a top 10 game. So I think Stalingrad 42 needs to fall down. I mean, I said 17, which is the area we were just talking about. So just above Almoravid. But somewhere in that, I mean, when I look at the games below Stalingrad 42, Silver Bayonet, Empire of the Sun, Here I Stand, Dien Bien Phu, Second Fleet, Korea, I think all those are better than Stalingrad 42. Not a bad game at all. It's a great game. I mean, number 17 is a great number. I just think that those games are better than Stalingrad 42.
Have you played Stalingrad 42?
Yeah. I mean, it's a Zachbon game. It's
a Zachbon game at its best. It is the best iteration of Zachbon.
It's got a big map. It's It's very much about getting underpowered Russian units to create the Zach bonds that make it hard for the Germans to break through. They've got a lot of territory to go. I mean, it feels very much, it's not exactly a Barbarossa game. It sort of is, but it feels like a Barbarossa game in the unit strength and the way the Russians are. I just don't think it's a top 10 game.
Fine. Below Korea, in front of Atlantic Chase is where I'll go with that.
All right.
So at the new 16, with Atlantic Chase being the new 17.
I can take that.
I'm talked into it because the Silver Bayonet does something completely different and does more and offers more in the box. Just as like a value. Empire of the Sun I've played now, some, and I appreciate it. Here I Stand, all-time classic. DMB&FU, we always talk about being underrated. Second Fleet. Fleet's amazing. Korea, the Forgotten War versus Stalingrad 42 are similar comparisons, right? Because if you're going to play the campaign games, you have that flow, right? You have the attack and defense.
Yeah, so I would... And
Korea does it better.
Yeah.
I think... Yeah. I will do this. Everyone hear me out. Stalingrad 42 is an amazing game if you dedicate the time. But yes.
I mean, obviously it is. I mean, we have, it's just, it's a top-heavy list, and I don't see this as good as those.
Does the last 100 yards bump in front of anything for you?
So...
And there's a stretch
I think
of
there's
games
going to
there
be
that I know
a
you haven't played.
hard ceiling at Axis Empires.
Right, I agree.
So now we're talking about a small jump. I mean, is it better than Sekigahara? Maybe. I mean, you can make that argument. You can make it either way.
Yep.
Sekigahara is a pretty unique game. Empire in Arms is burdensome, but it's a good game.
Right.
Whereas Last 100 Yards is much easier to grasp, lighter. I mean, how do you compare Last 100 Yards and Empire in Arms? So either way, I mean, we're talking about a small jump.
Right.
Last 100 Yards over Imperial Struggle, I would say, yeah, sure, but that's one spot. Last 100 Yards over Sword of Rome, now we're talking about 2 spots. So, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but that's where we said where we would just table that for next year.
Exactly.
Right? Because,
yeah. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we're talking about a small jump rather than a large one.
Axis Empires is this gatekeeper, right? It's this gatekeeper to the top 25. And Last 100 Yards is bashing against that door for me. You know, Todd asked, does Last 100 Yards replace ASL for you? No, but I like Last 100 Yards more. But it doesn't replace it, but they do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of, I don't know if that makes any sense, but Axis Empires is our ceiling to the top. And I don't know if Last 100 Yards passes that. Because Axis Empires, someone asked, James asked a little bit about Axis Empires, and I've been reading the new rule books, and I've been reading Paul's kind of recap of the alternate history you can do with the new version. And Axis Empires is World War II in a sandbox, but it's not the level of World in Flames, but it's not Axis and Allies.
It's playable also. I mean, World in Flames is debatable whether it's playable or not. You've got to be committed.
It's ASL playable, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a lifestyle game.
Yeah.
So we're in agreement.
I mean, Zeppelin Raider, we could certainly move that down.
Yeah.
But
sure could. Sure could. All right. That's it, folks. The list is set.
All right. Close it up.
But before we close it up, we need to hear from Kevin, First Contact Gamer.
Good day, strategy gamers and History on the Table listeners. This is First Contact Gamer with my best of 2023. Best History on the Table episode for me, episode 43, Pacific War with Old Chesty. Best Wargame content creator this year, I think RVT Wargames by Dicky on YouTube. Best face-to-face game that I experienced was OCS Smolensk this year. Best solitaire game, The Hunters. Best purchase, The Third Winter. Should have gotten that sooner. Best fiction book, Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Best Nonfiction Book, Retribution, The Soviet Reconquest of Ukraine by Prit Butter. Really, my most anticipated new release next year, The Forgotten Battles, an OCS game. Hopefully it releases. Looking forward to next year, the History on the Table 2024 games to be played tracking, and really trying to turn those into a New Year's resolution we can all follow along with together in our community. As always, strategy gamers, wishing you an excellent day and a very excellent new year. Bye now.
One, thank you, Kevin. Two, appreciate the transition into the 2024 gaming resolutions, courtesy of the best office administrator, Patrick O'Leary.
Yeah, he was giving me a hard time because I didn't get my TPS reports in on time, but I did post my resolutions for next year, so.
Very good. So yeah,
Got it
shout out to Patrick. He made a thread for what do we want to play in 2024, and then did this color coordinated spreadsheet. So I have a list. Rich, you have a list, but let's talk about like our most want to get done.
And some of the things on my list are, I'm not really talking about them right now because they're immediate things like Downfall on Plantagenet.
Right. Right.
And probably, see, I'm already forgetting the name of the game. The Vietnam game that Keith want me to play, the tactical game.
Oh, Front Toward Enemy.
Front Toward Enemy. So like those are on my list because I really feel like I need to play those games. Sure. Just for me and my personal desires, what I really want to play this year is a full Hassle campaign. My daughter and I have already talked about it. I'm not sure. I've got like 5 of them, maybe 6. And the only 2 that I've really played much of are Hatton and Flames and Red Barricades. So maybe Hatton and Flames because it's one of the smaller ones, but
right.
I don't know. I think Drop Zone St. Mariglees is probably high on the list as well, but I just really want to play a full Hassle campaign this year.
Rich.
So when I say Hassle, historical ASL, that's what I'm talking about.
Rich.
Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh, that's splattered everywhere. Like, it was right by my mic. It's on my monitor now. It's on my lap. It's on my sweater. Do you know what that was? Do you know what I just opened?
I'm going to say Dr. Pepper.
No.
Oh.
The Civ Life Brown Ale.
Oh! Is that one of the ones that Mitch or I gave you?
It was.
Nice.
Although, like I said, it's now available in Kansas City. I shouldn't tell you that so you continue to give me 5 packs.
Keep 5 packs, yeah.
Which I love. 2024. 1, play more games. Play more games with the people we love.
Yeah.
2, here's the deal. I want to play a Simmons game. Whether it's Triumph of Marengo or Guns of Gettysburg, it's on my list. I'm playing one of those. PAX Ren. For PAX Ren is amazing. I had a great in-person play at PAX Premiere with Casey Nate, like I mentioned. Loved it. I want to play PAX Ren.
Yeah, if someone puts PAX Ren on the list at Historic Fest, I'll play that.
It's on the list. Okay. It is on the list.
I've never played it, and that's one that I would like to play.
Here's my number 1 game want to play of 2024. And it's not Winner's Victory. It's not
Battle Hymn Volume 2.
It is War of the Ring.
Oh, Mike and I were just talking about that today. I'm going to go over to his house sometime very soon and play that for the first time ever.
Zach LaRue, I know you're out there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Lives 40 blocks north of me. Big War of the Ring fan. Zach, come on over, buddy. It's time. Bom, 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 bom. War of the Ring
nice.
Is happening in 2024.
Oh, maybe that'll want to go on our list then if we're both going to be playing that.
What are we most looking forward to playing in 2024? It's Republic of Rome for both of us.
Yeah.
It's Republic of Rome. It's Republic of Rome. More Republic of Rome.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's Republic of Rome. It's whatever I play at Donkey Con. We haven't decided yet. It's looking like more GTS, but whatever it is, I just... And it's not that I'm leaving Historic Fest off the list. It's just that we haven't really started talking too much about games for Historic Fest yet, whereas we're actively talking about Donkey Con and Lake Viking games. So what I'm looking for is those experiences. So
yes.
What did you say?
It's Viking Con.
Viking Con.
Yes, I too am looking forward to a hug. So the best news for Viking Con attendees is we've switched Rye to a like the slow eating bowls, and his gas has just gotten so much better.
I had forgotten about that, but yeah, there were
Oh
issues
gosh, I
at
will never
times.
forget Mitch. It's like, yes, he's gassy. I get it, but he's the best dog in the world.
And he likes to lay right under the table and fart all over the place.
How dare you? He's a sweet baby boy. I think he also anxious farts. It's all those new people. Anyways. Folks, we're not done yet. We're not done. We're not going anywhere. We got more to go.
Can I add a question to the list? When we're
Yeah.
talking about what we're looking forward to playing.
Yeah.
So what is 2024 going to be the year of?
Wasn't it like Hungarian Navy or some bullshit?
Yeah. Well, I think we said Hungarian Navy and Finnish air warfare or something, but like is there seriously any era or series or something that you could see
Fantasy.
yourself? Fantasy. Interesting.
Fantasy sci-fi.
Okay, cool.
Like War of the Ring has to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Is that enough to make it fantasy sci-fi? Year of fantasy sci-fi gaming? Maybe not. Year of ancient sci-fi gaming?
I like it. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know. You tell us, folks.
So I think for me,
That-
it's going to
that
be
excludes
it's gonna
Finland.
be ancient air warfare. Because I've got a bunch of
The
ancient
Griffins
games.
in War of the Ring?
I've got a bunch of ancients that I've been wanting to play, and we're not even talking about like what books we've been reading and stuff, but I've just been binging like air warfare stuff recently. So
Richard,
yes,
what ancients games do you want to play? Because outside of Republic of Rome, I don't know like what other ancients
well,
games.
Pericles is one.
Okay, I want to play. Okay. I want to play Pericles.
I would like to try some GBOH games.
Yeah.
They're sitting there. I got to do something with them.
They're fine. They're fine. They're fine. They're fine. They're fine, folks. It's a joke. They're fine. They're fiddly fine. All right.
We'll go on to non-wargaming talk. So, Bruce, you can hang up now.
No, don't hang up. Although we don't have train games this year. I have no new train games to me. Every train game, I played
Are
a
they
lot of
making
new
new
train games.
games, or are they just reprinting old stuff?
Yeah. 18 Texas, 18 Florida. Well, those aren't new, but they were new to 18xx.games. Neither of them are worthy of a top list. Let's just get that out of the way right now. So there was nothing in the train game realm that was new to me. What's worth mentioning is the Good Dick, folks, is getting a reprint. Dutch Inner City is back, baby. You can get yourself a copy of Dutch Inner City.
So everyone go to your computer right now and Google, where can I get some good dick?
Stop. Don't do that. That was from Richard.
Especially if you're at
Fisher on
work.
the table does
doing
not
your
endorse
work
that
laptop.
message. Didn't it take a while for like Dick's Sporting Goods, like a long time for them to get Dicks.com? I feel like it did. I think that was like a thing, right? Like for a while they didn't, and a while like since like I feel like 4 years ago is when they finally got that domain name.
Are they out of business now?
Dick's Sporting Goods?
Yeah.
Or Dicks.com.
Well,
Dick's Sporting Goods is still around, but like
Are they?
I think for
I think
a while
in St. Louis they might be out of business.
I think for a while you had to specifically go to dicksportinggoods.com. Kids, if you're listening and you don't understand what would happen, you can send an email to Richard. You can send an email to dicktrapier@gmail.com. And he'll send you an answer and explain it all. All right, folks, we're done talking about war games. We're done talking about Dick's Sporting Goods. It's all the other stuff. Other non-historical gaming shout-outs. Richard... Well, I had non-historical Go rocks, Earth rocks. I didn't have anything else. I don't know. Here's the reason you had one of the like pandemics last year. That's the only reason why this.
Oh yeah. No, we're not. Well, I don't know. My daughter wants to play Charterstone. I bought it for her. Like,
Oh no! It's
really?
not-
Is it that?
Well,
don't tell me
here's the
that.
deal.
So I bought it for her like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's still sitting in the shrink wrap in her closet. And she's like, you know what? We never played that game. We should play that game. And I'm not really looking forward to it, but I'm going to anyway. So we'll see how it goes.
I used to go to a weekly game group in Independence, Missouri, where you accidentally got off on the train, and you saw how lovely Independence was.
Oh yeah, it's a lovely city, and does our former president proud.
Yeah. Well, so downtown Independence, where this game store is located, is actually great. It's just the rest of the meth is the problem with Independence. So Charterstone, we started a campaign with this game group at the game store, and we got 2 or 3 plays in, and I told them I am out, and I do not do that very often. I will suffer through months of Axis Empires. Right? Just
well, hopefully she hates it, because if I hate it, I have to pretend that I'm loving it if she loves it. Because honestly, if she wants to play it, I'm playing it no matter what.
At least it's like a 4-year-old purchase, so I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
When you bought Downfall in the GMT sale, I was just like, Rich, I didn't you had already bought it, but I was like, I used a coupon code and got it cheaper from Miniature Market than what GMT.
I could have gone to Miniature Market, got it for $5 less.
What good does that do?
But
here's the deal: Charterstone's a 5-year-old purchase. Rich, just accidentally throw it out. Look, I like Jamie Stegmaier games a lot. I know a lot of people don't. I love Red Rising, which he helped design. Viticulture is one of my favorite games of all time. Charterstone's bad.
Is it really?
I think so.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
We're
going to play Frosthaven this year, too. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh,
we actually already started it, but we kind of
Oh.
delayed. We're only a couple scenarios in, but we just loved Gloomhaven. And so Frosthaven, it's different enough. I mean, it plays like Gloomhaven, but there's a lot there. It's not just like more Gloomhaven scenarios. So,
Rich, what was the best fiction book you read this year?
So it was actually Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman. Have you read that one?
Man. Did you do the audiobook?
Yeah,
where he
I did an
narrates it?
audiobook with him reading it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's really good. It's very entertaining. Neil Gaiman does a great job reading it. It's really, really good. I enjoyed the hell out of it. How about you, Matt? What's your favorite?
The best fiction book I read. So here's the deal: 1/2 of a lush and seething hell, lush and seething hell. My Heart Struck Sorrow, which is this Appalachian Cthulhu-esque,
Really?
is 5 out of 5.
So this is like Old Gods of Appalachia stuff.
Esque.
Sure.
You're on the right track. Now, as a whole book, I hate to say it, but Xenos Eisenhorn #1 is so awesome. So this is Warhammer. This is Dan Abnett writing.
So this is like an actual Warhammer book.
Yeah, and this isn't
Yeah,
Space
see,
Marines.
and-
This is an Inquisitor.
Maybe it's good. I'm sure I trust you, but I just like all those intellectual property books. Like I've never
Yeah.
read any of the Warhammer ones, but like every one of those books, let's Halo or whatever, I just always thought they were crap.
Okay. So it really depends on who's writing the Warhammer books.
Yeah.
If it's Dan Abnett, you're safe. And so his Eisenhorn series is completely removed from like the whole Warhammer 40K shit. Self-contained. I was like, I don't know if this will live up to the hype. Xenos was amazing. So there's 2 of my 3. 1/2 of A Lush and Seething Hell. The great news about A Lush and Seething Hell, the first half of the book is like 4 out of 5. The second half of the book is 5 out of 5. I have 2 others that I really want to mention. One, the Last Ronin. So, believe it or not, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Kevin Eastman comics, when they got rebooted by IDW, are 5 out of 5. Amazing. They're the best. The Last Ronin is a self-contained Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles story. You laugh. It is amazing. There's one surviving Ninja Turtle. I'm not going to spoil who it is. And they go to war in like a cyberpunk setting on their own. And it is amazing. It is 100% recommended. Read it. Go check it out from the library. Do whatever you can. The Last Ronin is one of the best trade paperback comics I've ever read.
Oh, it's
The
a comic
story-
book. Okay.
Yeah, comic book. It's 6 issues contained in one story.
Okay.
It is amazing. You don't need to read the past 100 issues of the IDW TMNT series. I recommend that series. It's amazing. But Last Ronin, outstanding. Final fiction book for me, I know we're only supposed to do one, is The Lions of Al-Rasan by Guy Gabriel Kay. This is the perfect pair. It's basically Almoravid fictionalized. There you go. You
Okay,
got it.
cool.
It is so well written.
Nice.
It is an outstanding story. It takes all of the history and kind of fantasizes it. But you still have the historical actors. It's so good. Lions of Al Rassan, Guy Gabriel Kay. Those are my fiction books this year. All right. Best nonfiction book, Richard.
All right. So I'm going to do an honorable mention since you listed like 9 fiction books. I'll get them. So On to Richmond is without a doubt the best book to game combination that I've ever read. So you put the On to Richmond map out there, you read On to Richmond. It's fantastic to follow along, play along with it, do everything else. And you can even like...
Wait. Do you mean To the Gates of Richmond?
To the Gates of
Richmond.
Else? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, okay, because that was going to be my pick. That was my pick.
To the Gates of Richmond. So I even like, as I was setting it up and reading the book and playing the game, I would like, they talk about, this guy walked by and Stonewall Jackson's just like fucking around leaning up against a wall. And I'm like, okay, well, he rolled snake eyes for his movement roll. And they're just, you would think Stonewall Jackson's going to move like 12 hexes. No, he's going to move 2.
Where is Jackson?
So, yeah, it's a fantastic book. It was great. But the book that I really just enjoyed the most reading is Samurai by Saburo Sakai. It's a autobiography about a Japanese Zero pilot during World War II, and it's just awesome. I loved everything about it. But I don't want to say but. And I have read a couple other air pilot memoirs just in the last month. I'll talk about those next month when we record, but like I said, I've been kind of binging that lately, and I'm really into reading pilots' memoirs right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Moving on. Best movie and TV show this year for us.
You want to go first?
Sure. All right. Not new to me, but it concluded this year and had a new season. I love a good British crime drama. And one of my favorites for a long time has been Endeavour, which has kind of taken place through the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Kind of fast forward some.
Where do you watch that?
It's on Masterpiece CBS.
Okay.
Masterpiece PBS.
Gotcha.
And it's technically a precursor to Inspector Morse, which is a TV show. And it wrapped up this year, and it stuck the landing. It did an outstanding job. Rich, I don't know if I watched like a new movie this year.
Yeah. I mean, I mostly keep up with the Marvel stuff, even though I don't even like it anymore. Like, I haven't seen a single good Marvel thing in a long time, but I still watch it anyway. So, but we're actually talking about stuff I do like, and my favorite TV show this year is Shoresy.
Nice.
So I'm a big Letterkenny fan. I love Letterkenny, but Shoresy is even better. Like,
wow,
it's this show about a foul-mouthed hockey team in the middle of a small town in Canada, and it's just, I mean, it sounds silly, but the show has so much heart, and it's just such a good show that I absolutely love it. So there's been 2 seasons of it so far, and they're short seasons anyway. But I mean, you could binge watch the whole thing in a week or maybe even a weekend if you wanted to. And if you like Letterkenny, you're definitely gonna like Shoresy. But if you're not even sure what either of those are, I would say it definitely helps to be a hockey player. I played hockey my whole life. I'm a big hockey fan. So, it really, really captures hockey players. The funniest parts about being a hockey player. So Shoresy.
All right.
Best drink. Can I say Eli Drinkwitz,
what's a Henderson?
the Mizzou coach? So it's I've never had one before. I mean, and honestly, I'll be 100% honest. It's basically an old fashioned. It's a little different from an old fashioned. It's got something called port syrup in there that, gives it like a little bit of a dark red wine and sweetness to it. But it's basically an old fashioned. I had one when I was in Louisville this summer at the Angel's Envy distillery. It's the first time I ever had one. So it's really good. I bought some of the port syrup so I can make them myself, and I've been drinking them off and on the whole year. That's, my go-to drink is something bourbon-based, and I've been finding myself making a lot of these.
I have 2, if that's permissible.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
1. We'll start with Compass Box Glasgow Blend. This is my budget choice this year. This is a $35 bottle of scotch that's a blend and peaty and delicious. And it's wait, 35, 20, 35, $35. They have a couple other blends. They have a less peaty blend. They have more expensive blends. This Compass Box Glass Globe blend. Not a blend guy generally. And blends are fine, but just not normally my cup of tea. Compass Box. It's good. It's peaty. It's smoky. You know, it's not as good as a Spice Trade.
Spice Trade. I'll be honest with you. Spice Trade sounds like a $6 rum.
Okay, so Spice Trade is a cocktail.
Okay.
With an homage to Dune, or I found it on Instagram a couple months ago.
Okay.
Not explicitly Dune. It is essentially basil muddled with cinnamon syrup, lemon juice, and gin.
I'm not a huge gin fan, but I would definitely try that.
Okay, so the gin takes a little bit of a back seat here, depending on the gin you use. Tonight
Do you go floral or...
Dry London.
Okay.
I've done it with Old Tom Gin, which is aged gin. I think it's a little sweet if you use the Old Tom Gin.
Okay.
Because it uses the cinnamon syrup, which does a lot of lifting of the sweet. Like, it makes it very sweet. I like Old Tom Gin in cocktails that don't have some other sweet factor. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. London Dry, Beefeater, whatever, pick your Hendrix. Tonight I use J. Rieger. London Dry Gin, cinnamon syrup, basil leaves muddled, lemon juice. The interaction between the cinnamon syrup and the basil is fantastic. And the cinnamons and the lemon is just there to like tie it all together. It's very good. And the gin really does take a back seat. That's it. It's good. It
sounds good. I don't
trade.
think you can order that anywhere though. That's the problem.
You're right. They have to have cinnamon syrup going. Otherwise, they're going to have everything else, right? Like they're going to have... Well, maybe they don't have basil leaves. I don't know. Super easy to make, though, because you just muddle it all together.
Nice.
So tonight I made them, and you may see them on the Discord in What Are You Drinking? And mine is very green, because I think I over-muddled the basil this time around.
Oh, yeah.
But it worked. Like, that was not a problem. It just added to it. So you end up with this, like, green slime slurry, and I'm a fan. And that is definitely my cocktail of the year.
So what was it called again?
Spice Trade. You should be able to find the recipe on YouTube.
Yeah. So they got that Cthulhu mug in the background.
I was new for Christmas, but
I would call that drink something Cthulhu-ish because of the color.
I would too. They released. So if you listen to the guy's video, it's when the first part of the Dune movie came out. That's the reason why they did that. I got that new Cthulhu mug for Christmas. If you're curious, like, what Cthulhu mug could Matt be talking about? Head on over to Discord.
Where can they talk to us, Matt?
History on the tip. We're not wrapping up yet. Whoa,
okay.
whoa. We are not wrapping up. We have at least one more topic.
Yeah, and it's about Cthulhu.
It is. Look at that segue. Best RPG you played this year, buddy?
Yeah, so the one that I'm playing continues to be Warhammer Fantasy RPG. And,
nice.
It's fun. It's good. But I've just, like, my go-to when I run something, and I've run a bunch of one-shots this year, and we've done a little bit of some extended campaigns, but my go-to really right now is Call of Cthulhu. So I like the system. I like the setting. I like the flexibility of it. You can do anything from like hardcore horror to quick little, adventure mysteries. That's just my go-to. I'm really liking Call of Cthulhu. But
you know what?
I do have news for you as well.
Oh, what's your news?
I am going to be running, which means I have now read Witchburner this year.
Oh, no.
It's been years. We were never going to get back to that.
Without being spoilers.
No spoilers.
How great were your two original characters?
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's just going to be so much fun. So I'm going to run it for my two daughters.
But think about like the characters you created.
Oh, yeah.
And how they fit into Witchburner. How brilliant was that?
I know. That? I mean, we can talk about it offline sometime because, yes, I'm thinking very much about our Witchburner campaign.
What system are you using for it?
I haven't decided yet. All I've done so far is read the the actual book. But I was thinking I don't want to do anything D20, but I was thinking like Savage Worlds maybe.
Yeah, Savage Worlds would be great. I mean, anything works for it. I
Yeah.
did 5e, but hey, guess what system I fell out of love with this year?
Call of Cthulhu.
It is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Call of Cthulhu. I like the idea of Call of Cthulhu
Yeah.
more than I like Call of Cthulhu.
So does that mean our King of Yellow is dead?
Probably.
Yeah.
One, I just don't have the time for it. There's other focuses with RPGs.
Yeah.
And
I was so lost as a player in that one.
what's interesting with Call of Cthulhu is it tells you as a player that, and Art pointed this out to me, is a system that asks you to put the Call of Cthulhu, meaning the Call of the Unknown, on the pedestal, is probably flawed, meaning that the entire game revolves around you as the player believing in this greater call of the unknown. And that falls apart when you have a bad adventure. Like if your push forward for your character is always this greater, you hear the Call of Cthulhu, but what if you're not hearing it? You know? And then I just got tied into like, well, how good of an investigative game is it? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I love the Cthulhu mythos.
There's
but
other
I just,
investigative games that I want to try out. Kids on Bikes and Tales from the Loop are probably the top two.
yeah, I like both of those.
Yeah.
I like both of those a lot, actually. I don't know. I've just kind of soured on it. I'm sure I'll come back to it.
So what are you playing?
Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Has the new rulebook come out yet?
It did.
Okay, I've been waiting for that, and yeah, I might run out and pick that up because that's what I was waiting for. I've been looking at it for a few months now, reading the whatever the name of that wiki page is, but I've been waiting for the new rulebook to come out.
So, love the system. Don't necessarily love how they've divided up the core rules and the player rules.
Really?
There's references in the core rules to like see the player rules. It's like, oh, I get it. Like you've cleaned this up a lot and condensed a lot of things, but also like you're kind of forcing people into 2 books. Maybe they don't necessarily need it. Honorable mention, the writing in Cyberpunk Red is almost as good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I haven't done anything with that one at all.
Super well written rulebook. Very impressed by it. Rich,
Yes,
we've come to an end on another year.
it is.
20
Is the end of
2023 is-
2023.
2023 is wrapped up. It's in the books. We don't. Thank goodness we're not swimming this week. So glad you're here with us. So glad you're here with me, buddy.
Well, I appreciate that.
Oh, I appreciate you. I appreciate that we've kept this going. Appreciate the games, even when it's infrequent, the games you and I get in together. I'm appreciative of the games I get to play with all the people that interact with us.
Yeah, we've got a good group of listeners, a lot of good gamers out there, always looking for games to play. I regret anyone that I have flaked out on because I ran out of time, but like I said, I think 2024 is going to be better.
2024 is going to be a good year. Paul, wherever you're at, whatever you're drinking, just go and top to bottom that. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what Chuck E. Cheese you're at. Just T to B, buddy.
Hey, I went to Chili's last week.
Did ya?
Yeah. I was kind of
space Chiles or regular?
I think it was just a regular Chili's.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was so funny. It was the day after Christmas, which is my mother-in-law's birthday. And we had already left the Airbnb. We were in the hotel.
You went to a Kansas City Chiles.
Yes, so I know. So we asked her where she wanted to go to dinner. And when my wife told me that my mother-in-law wanted to go to Chili's, I did not believe her. I was like, no, seriously, where does she want to go to dinner? So, yeah, all of us, my wife, her brother, her parents, all of her families, we all sat down there at a huge table for a dozen people at Chili's. And yeah, that was a thing that happened.
Rich, we happened. Listeners, you happened. Hey, Happy New Year to you. Whether you're eating Chili's or not. If you're like, hey, that Discord place sounds fun, you can go down to our show notes and you can join the Discord.
If
We're
you
on
think
Twitter.
that, you're right.
We're on Twitter and shit. but the best place to be
Are you still on
is
Twitter?
Discord. Yeah, sure.
Nice.
Sure. I don't know. Sometimes. Not as much as, I don't know. I pop in and, like, when we drop an episode, I pop in and shit.
Yep.
Hey, we'll have the
We're on
historical board
YouTube.
game.
This will be on YouTube.
This will be on YouTube.
That's how you know what a big deal we are.
Historical board game awards are coming up early in 2024. That'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
different than.
We haven't really
this
been hyping
list.
that, but yeah, that's coming up too.
I mentioned it. I'm gonna meet with Bill, but yeah, that's coming up. There's a new T-shirt out there. My whole family got a 2024 streetwear T-shirt. I'll post a picture.
How do we buy
on
those?
YouTube. Need a link in the show notes.
All right, perfect.
Or join my family and show up on Christmas Day. Either one, whatever you think is more fiscally
We've got about
responsible.
360 days till Christmas.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, I
it's
guess
time
if you
to
want a
buy- you have time to
2024
buy a
streetwear
t-shirt.
shirt, you need to buy it. If you want 2025 shirt, you need to join my family and show up on Christmas Day. So, good luck. If you join my family, it's a hoot.
I think we did it.
We did it.
I think we closed out the year. I think the only thing to do now. So yes, please go to Discord. If you haven't filled out the 2024 want to play, put your lists on there because I think Patrick is going to be hassling people to hold them to their New Year's resolutions. Tell your family to follow the podcast and download it, even if they don't listen to it.
We picked up like 2 new listeners on Christmas Day because I gave out T-shirts, and they're like, "Wait, you have a podcast?" I'm like, yes.
I love it. Like when I come to Historic Fest and people that like know me in person and have known me for the years are like, "Wait, you have a podcast?"
Mike Denson was like, "You have a podcast?" I'm like, "What?" Yeah, it's called Chance of Gaming. We did an interview. Chance of Gaming did an interview with Mike Denson. We did not. But Mike was like, "Wait, you have a podcast? What's it about?" It's like, this shit we're playing right now. All right, that's going to do it for us, folks.
Have a good year. Make it a good year. Enjoy yourself. And if your year sucks, find a friend. Get through it together. Because sometimes it sucks.
But hey, if you need to vent or bullshit or just hang out in a good spot, pop on over. We got you, fam. All right, everyone. That's going to do it for us. Good night, folks.
Good night, everyone. Happy New Year.
I don't like closing the show until you say good night, Rich, because I feel like your good night is like a piece of our show. You just say good night so well.
Good night, everyone.
There it is.
Good night, everyone.
Double good night.
I'm trying to wait till you stop making noise.
Oh,
Good
we're
night,
good,
everyone.
We're closing. I'm hitting stop
Good night,
record right now.
Good night, everyone.